Galaxy Light Stories.
We get sick once in a while, but sometimes we get the fever, especially in our young childhood. What if we get a nightmare? And what if that same nightmare repeats every time you get a fever? Is it real, or is it just a dream?
A 9-year-old boy named Alex lay in his bed, the sheets twisted around him like a cocoon. A fever had gripped him for the past few days, leaving him weak and disoriented. The world outside his window was a blur of colors, but inside, everything felt dark and heavy. His mother had been caring for him, bringing soup and cool cloths for his forehead, but even her soothing presence couldn't chase away the shadows that danced in the corners of his room. As night fell, the house grew quiet, save for the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. Alex's eyelids drooped, and he succumbed to sleep, his mind drifting into a realm where reality twisted and turned into something far more sinister. It started with a faint sound, a rhythmic thumping that echoed through the hallway, growing louder and more menacing with each passing moment. He stirred, his heart racing, and listened intently. The footsteps were heavy, deliberate, and they seemed to be heading straight for his room. Panic surged through him, and he pulled the covers over his head, hoping to shield himself from whatever horror awaited him. "Who's there?" He wanted to scream, but the words were lodged in his throat, stifled by terror. The deep laughter was all-consuming, wrapping around him like a serpent, squeezing the breath from his lungs. The laughter that followed was deep and rumbling, sending chills down his spine. It was a sound that didn't belong to any living creature, a sound that seemed to mock his fear. The door creaked open, and the footsteps thundered into the room. Alex could feel the presence looming over him, the air thickening with dread. He squeezed his eyes shut, clutching the covers tighter around him. The laughter grew louder, echoing in his mind, and he felt himself being lifted, tossed around like a rag doll. He was helpless, trapped in his own cocoon of fabric, unable to see the monster that toyed with him. He was too afraid to see what was there. In a moment of sheer instinct, he yanked the covers away from his face, ready to confront his nightmare. But instead of the monster, he was met with the soft glow of his nightlight. He was back in his room, safe and sound, drenched in sweat. It had all been a dream, or so he thought. As he lay there, heart pounding, he could still hear the echoes of the laughter, the weight of the monster's presence lingering in the corners of his mind. Days turned into weeks, and the nightmare clung to him like a shadow. Each night, he would lay awake, listening for the footsteps that never came, but the fear was always there, gnawing at him. His mother noticed the change in him. "You're still not feeling well, are you?" she asked one evening, concern etched on her face. Alex shook his head, unable to articulate the terror that had taken root in his heart. He wanted to tell her about the monster, about the laughter that haunted him, but the words felt too heavy, too real to share. Alex then told his mom that he must be getting a lot of nightmares from the fever. As the days turned into a month, Alex's fear morphed into something more profound. He began to dread the night, the darkness that enveloped his room, and every creak of the house felt like a warning. The laughter echoed in his mind, and he started to see shadows move out of the corner of his eye. Was it just his imagination, Or was the monster watching him, waiting for the right moment to strike again? Was it really real as it felt, or just a bad nightmare? He tried to convince himself that he was safe, that it was just a bad dream. But deep down, he knew the truth. The monster wasn't gone. It was still there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the moment when he would let his guard down. And as the nights grew longer, Alex could feel the monster's grip tightening around him, a chilling reminder that some nightmares never truly end.